I guess this stuff does work. Looks like we have broken through to the connections of the internet. We are back, I do believe. And I think we are live. How does that happen? Let's see here. I see Relic Dirty Hands in the chat. Home Finder. Gary Heckman. Oh, shout out to Mr. Bill. Ohio Relic Hunter in the house. Suki's in the house. Looks like that's kind of covering everyone for the time being. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the audio is getting out to the listeners and there is no buffering issues. I know that was a problem a few weeks back. So hopefully they can hear us just fine, and by all means, if you can, let us know how the audio's sounding. Hopefully the audio is sounding a little better. Playing around with some new tricks, trying to dial in some new things, see if we can clean up that audio a little bit for everyone. Other than that, though, as I said, we are back, we are live, and it's that time of the week, Wednesday. And this is Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for you, the always valued and very much appreciated listeners. Very glad to see the listeners this week, actually. Glad to be able to see that broadcaster does continue to fire, even after numerous unexplainable internet issues. Massive glitch last week. Apologies for the glitch last week, but we appreciate everyone for being patient and hanging in there with us. And maybe we'll get into a little bit about that tonight. Little interesting story with it, maybe even a few laughs for some people. And in the direction of Mississippi, apparently they have tornado warnings. Tornadoes have touched down. Not sure if the Dirt Bandits in Mississippi or maybe even Oz. Who knows? It's safe to say he's not in Kansas. So, with that in mind, we've actually split off and headed back out to Massachusetts and New Hampshire. We've got Leighton and Swanzey in tonight. How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey, going great. Good evening and Merry Christmas to you guys.
Very good
point.
Doing
well up here in New Hampshire, just raining, but Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Hey, that beats snow.
Always sure that does.
I don't know about up in New Hampshire, but I'll tell you what, it's supposed to be close to 70 tomorrow, and I can't wait to get out there and swing.
That's
65 here too, buddy.
That's just sick.
Crazy.
Christmas Eve, and it's like we all went to Florida.
They call us snowbirds.
Yeah, I mean, when is the last time, I mean, there have been years where I've hunted clear up to the end of the year. A few years back, I was out on New Year's Eve and actually dug up a short sword.
Oh, sweet.
It was great weather. It was only mid-upper 40s that day, if I remember right. But
this is like September weather. September, October, you know, for us anyway, over here in New England.
Right. I mean,
it's beautiful.
That's just crazy. And you've had a lot of years in the hobby, Leighton.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When is the last time you can remember 70 degrees Christmas Eve?
I'd have to say probably in the 80s. Early
Wow.
80s is when I remember a few times in November, early December, actually in my T-shirt, swinging a coil. Yeah, probably 80s. 87, 88.
And speaking of Florida, we've got SQ Engineer in the house. So he knows what we're talking about because he's down there in the Florida area. So we're enjoying this. We're soaking it up while we can, right?
I'll take every day like this. I'll be swinging like a monkey from a tree looking for a banana patch tomorrow.
There you go. Absolutely.
Well, you found your banana patch today, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tonight, huh?
Yeah, speaking of which, why don't you tell us about that? That looks like a nice haul, man. You know, multiple silvers, but not only multiple seeded silvers.
Yeah, I had a great day today. Basically, how it started out was I've been doing this park for over 40 plus years. I went to the area. I've been trying to really put my mind to my metal detector and make it work for me. I've been critiquing these programs that I've been using. And when I got to this park, I used to do this years ago when I was young, with my mother and my father. I remembered an area that used to have a lot of heavy traffic. There used to be a lot of parades in the area, a lot of baseballs, games used to go on, kickball and all that. Anyway, long story short, I went in an area that I did remember going and finding some old jewelry with my parents when I was a kid. And, I just thought I'd put my machine to the test. I was, as you know, I use a CTX 3030 there, and I got my little special deep silver program that I made, and I just started crawling after I got the first Indian head penny. And lo and behold, I pulled out the 1856 seated dime, and 20 feet from it was another one, dated 1891. So, hey, you never know, right?
Right. Well, that's always good, though.
Yeah, I mean, and you say multiple silvers. I ended up with 7 pieces of silver today, and for the first 3 hours, I only had the Indian head penny and a couple of small pieces of broken jewelry. So my persistence paid off today. Let's put it that way. I knew it was there. I just had to really creep, take my time, get focused, take off my shirt because it was so hot, and I felt like I was digging in the middle of summer. It was crazy. Crazy day.
Right. Well, and digging those targets like that, I'm sure it was getting warm for you. You were working up a sweat.
Yeah, it was, definitely. It was crazy. So I ended up with, I don't know, for those that have been following my Facebook, Indian head pennies have been kind of popping out of the dirt for me this year. I ended up with number 178, 79, and 180. For the season so far. So I'm up there on Indian head pennies. It's crazy. I probably haven't dug that many Indian head pennies since I put that new program in years. Usually I'll get 20 or 25 a year, but this year's just been phenomenal for Indian head pennies for me. Crazy.
I know I've been following close, watching as you approach that 200 mark, hoping you make it.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, if I don't, you know what? It's been a heck of a year for me as far as a lot of bucket list finds, the Cat Bus $50, the Cat Bus dimes. I got 2 of those this year. It's been a crazy, crazy year. It really has. And you know what? For the folks that are listening and think that it's all gone, it's not.
It's not.
It's not gone. I'm hunting the same parks that I've always hunted for, like I said a few minutes ago, over 40 years. The same exact parks. So
well, and it's like we've said before, you've just got to be versatile.
Yeah.
You know, it's never completely hunted out. Just try and try. Maybe, come at it from a different angle, use a different coil, different settings. Like you said you're doing, you're tweaking these programs.
You know what? I'll tell you what, too, Josh. I was out with my son, Nick, last Sunday. We hit an area that we can only do on a Sunday. So I went into the area. I had been there a couple of Sundays prior to. And then when I got back from Virginia hunt, I went back just last week with my son. And we gridded it one way. We did pretty well. We gridded it in the opposite direction, and we did pretty well. And I decided to do diagonally, and don't you know, we found another 5 Indian head pennies on a diagonal grid. So
it just goes to show you never know.
You never know. I walked away with 10 Indian head pennies last Sunday in the same park as what I did today.
If I walk away with 1 or 2, I'm tickled.
Yeah. Oh, I am too. Believe me. I just don't know what to say. I don't understand why there's just so many Indian head pennies this year. I don't know if it's I have to chalk it up to the program that I'm using. That's the only thing I can think of. And I am swinging a little bit slower too, and I'm a lot more focused.
So just out of curiosity then with that, is this something where maybe you've, obviously without giving out terrible specifics or anything, maybe you've kind of shifted the tones a little bit, or
I have,
opened a pattern, or?
Yeah, I have. I've done all of those 2 things, for sure. With my CTX, I've opened it wide open. I always hunted in open array anyway, but I have chosen 3 specific tones. Low for gold, mid for my regular clad coins, excluding the dimes and the quarters because they'll come in as a high tone anyway. But then all my highs, anything that's over to the right-hand side of my screen is definitely silver or sterling or something, like a quarter or a dime. But this is what I'm doing. I'm cherry picking, buddy. I'm only doing anything that is deeper than 7 inches. If it says 7 inches, I won't even dig it.
Right.
But
and clearly you can see from your posts it's working well for you.
It is. It is. And every park is a little different. I'm not going to say that, if let's say my son's with me and he's getting a couple of Wheaties at 5 or 6, that I won't dig a 5 or a 6.
Right.
But it all pertains to the area.
Yeah.
How hard packed it is.
Location.
It is. So, I put the feeler out like I did today for the first couple hours. I hardly had anything. But towards the end, I really honed in on those signals, and I really slowed down. I like to use the term "throw out the anchor." When you find one goodie, you take your time and throw out that anchor and kind of do a real slow-mo type drag on the ground and keep that coil as close to the ground as possible.
Oh yeah, I'll scrub that thing all over the ground like I'm trying to clean a floor or something.
Yeah. Do you do the same thing up there too, also, Swanzey, up there in New Hampshire? Do you find that once you find an area that you're throwing out the anchor and you go from there?
Oh, as soon as I find a silver coin or an Indian head, I basically take that area and I grid it off to usually a 10 by 10 foot. I'll go north, south, east, and west, and then northeast, southwest, do the same thing. And then if I can't find anything else in that area, I'll move over to the next grid, and I will literally take that spot the entire afternoon.
Yeah. I think today, honestly, I don't think I did much more than 1,000 square feet in about 3 hours. Right. So that's not, you're not moving very fast or very far in that 3 hour period. So,
you're just sitting there trolling.
I grabbed the other day. I moved within 15 feet of the cellar hole in every direction, and that was all I did for 3 hours, and pulled out, like I said, a handful of flat buttons, the ball buttons, the large cent, and some escutcheon plates and some drawer pull plates and stuff like that. But again, I barely scratched the surface on that spot.
That was a good hunt for you.
That was a real good hunt. Yeah, I remember you saying it. You were talking to me about it yesterday. That's phenomenal. I love, and you said that's the first time that you believe anybody's been there, correct?
That'd be. To get within 3 feet of the cellar hole walls and find flat button after flat button with no modern trash. To me, that's a telltale sign.
Even better.
Right. Make sure you check them walls, buddy.
Yep.
Well, those walls will be checked when you come up here after the first of the year.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm definitely going to hook up with you.
Now watch, you'll get up there and get a signal in one of them walls and recover a target, and it'll be a copper tag that says, "Stealth diggers were here."
That'd be great. I'll get that on video.
There you go.
I told Swanzey when I get up after the first year, I'm going to videotape all this stuff. We're going to GoPro the heck out of it. And if that would be so funny if something like that came up, wouldn't it?
It would. It would be hilarious. It'd be well worth videotaping. And like I said, this has got 35 acres on a property where the cellar hole might be 6 feet wide by 12 feet long. And I was there for 3 hours, and the property is just massive around it.
Right.
Wow.
So you haven't even scratched the surface of this place.
No, I was just playing around with it to see what was there for signals, to see if it had been hunted before. There were no previous marks of holes or anything like that. And, to figure out that I found an 1826 large scent less than an inch down in the snowmobile path or four-wheeler path. I can only imagine what's in the surrounding area, being that there's 2 brooks that cross right in the middle of the path as well.
Nice.
Wow. That's just, you know what? I wish I could find a spot like that, but I have to resort to, honestly, in my area, because we're so rural, I have to resort to the parks. And, so for us to get a place like that is far and few in between. Not to say they're not here, but that's just not the forte in this area.
Right. You have to resort to being resourceful.
Right. Versatile. That's what we always bring that word up, but it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we run out of, when our ground freezes over here, you'll start seeing my posts from the water again.
Right. Well, and hopefully whenever that ground freezes, it'll lock Swanzey's cellar hole up for him for a little bit, and maybe I can make it over next year and see if I can help him out.
Well, I'm normally a field hunter myself, so I'm used to fields. This is the first year I've ever dug a cellar hole in my life.
Nice.
Wow. So for a first experience, what did you think?
It's a different ballgame. I'll tell you that much. I'm used to open, easy hunting with no roots. I'm used to being able to dig a plug, not worrying about it being sloppy or anything like that, which you don't have to do in the woods either. But I'm not used to digging through roots. I'm not used to fishing through old pieces of iron and coming up with pieces of brick underneath the ground that, you dig down 5-6 inches and you move a brick out of the way and there's the button underneath it. I'm used to digging a hole that says it's 4 inches deep, digging 4 inches deep and seeing my target.
Right. Well,
it's definitely a different ball game, especially with a larger coil. Now that I'm using Nell coil, it's a little more daunting to go between the smaller ash trees that we have up here and the small birches. I put the smaller coil back on, and it gives you a lot more versatility, where I think the sniper coils, like the 5x8, would be much more perfect for an area like this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're swinging, what's that, them Nell UFOs?
Yeah, the Nell Tornado.
That's what I kind of refer to them 17-inch CTX coils. Them things are like pizza boxes.
Oh, we call them the manhole covers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I know the first time I looked at one, I'm going, what the hell? I can pick up on a car hood in China with this thing.
You need your passport when you get to the bottom of some of those holes.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be waiting for somebody to pop up out of the hole. What are you doing?
Well, when you get that first fortune cookie that comes out of the hole and the button's down below it, you know you went too far.
Right.
That means the deal's over.
Yeah. Of
That's
course,
right.
then again, Leighton likes to go after them deep targets. Maybe I bust that fortune cookie open and it says Widow was here. Sorry, this Indian wasn't for you.
Oh, man. That hurt. Nice.
He had already got it. But, 2015 is clearly the year of the tribe for you, Leighton.
Oh, it is. You know what? And I feel so blessed that I'm able to still do what I do. At my age, 56. I'm not old. I'm not young. But honestly, hey, look, I look at it this way. It's half over, no matter how you look at it, right? For me to be able to bend down 100 times a day and get up and still be able to come home and, and chat on the radio like this and get back out there the very next day. I'll tell you, I thank God that I'm able to do what I do for the length of time I can do it. Let's put it that way. I can do it all year too. It's really great.
Well, and I think, especially like in your situation, that is just really phenomenal to be able to say, yeah, I can even still get out with my father and metal detect, and he's still able to swing a coil.
Yeah, he's 84. He just turned 84 in November, November 11th, Armistice Day. That's his birthday. So, he's not as quick as he used to be, but he gets out there, and if he finds a few pieces of clad, that's what it's all about. It's just that together time. Let's face it, who knows how long he's going to be around at 84. So, he hasn't lost he hasn't lost his oomph, let's put it that way, quite yet. So he still wants to do it. He hasn't lost interest.
Mind is willing.
Yeah, but he feels a little discouraged because when he sees me pulling all the good stuff still, he feels that he knows that I can get really good depth, and he knows I'm still able to do it, whereas he, on the other hand, is not able to get down on his knees as much anymore and able to dig as long targets or deep targets like I do. So I've
seen a number of people in the hobby that, a lot of years in the hobby, but their back or their knees just doesn't allow them to pursue it like they used to. And it's, for some of these people, it's just heartbreaking to see because they've got such a passion for it still.
Yeah, he does. He does have the passion for it still. He wants to get out there. He just physically can't do it as much as he'd like to. So if he finds a half a dozen coins while I'm there after, an hour or so, he's happy. And I'm happy for him. So what I try to do is... if I can find a nice deep target for him and I feel like it's a decent target, I'll tell him, hey, you might want to kind of just come over this way. I give him the old head nudge and, come over this way. And basically point him in the right direction. So it keeps him happy. It keeps me happy. And like I said, just to spend time with him at 84 in the field, even for an hour, is a treasure. That's more of a treasure than finding the 200th penny that I'm going to find this year.
There you go, yeah. Not last weekend, but the weekend before, I actually got out to dig for a little bit with my father. And,
did you?
Yeah. I think for both of us, it really didn't matter if we had found anything. It was just the time out, enjoying the weather and the company.
Right.
Now, what do you guys' fathers use for equipment? Do they use the older time equipment, or are they into the modern technology?
Well, that's a good question, actually. Yeah. My dad's still swinging his whites. He's been a whites guy. I was a whites guy for 35 plus years, and then I switched over to the Mine Lab. But he's still swinging his MXT, and every now and then he'll pull out the XLT. But he likes his MXT.
Well, for my half of that answer, you'll like this, Swanzey. My father swings an older Garrett.
Oh, nice.
It's a Garrett Ultra GTAX 1000 that produced many nice finds for me. So he uses that now. And he's not able to get out as much as he would like, but when he is able to get out, he enjoys it. And that's really in the end of it all. That's the important part, right? We're out there having fun. And like Leighton said, you're not sure how much, who knows how much time any of us have, so it's always a treasured memory.
Mm-hmm. I even try to get him on GoPro. He's not a big fan of, don't take a picture of me, that type of thing. So, I never post anything like that with him. But for my own personal records, I might sneak the old push to talk button there, and I'll catch him off guard. And it's always nice to get him in the field while he's digging without anybody knowing. So, it's a nice little extra treasure that I'll have.
Yeah, like for your own personal reminiscence.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's so funny.
You've got 3 generations that are digging in your family.
That's right.
Yep. And I've got myself, and then we've got Dad doing it. So,
yeah. Leighton's out there running the whole family tradition.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, prior to the show, Swans, I remember back in the early 70s with my mother. my father and myself, and this is how we used to do it. My father would run the machine, and we would have 10-penny spikes, my mother and myself, in our pockets, and he would go way in front of us, and every time he'd get a signal, and he'd pinpoint it, put a 10-penny spike in the ground, and we'd follow behind him and dig them until we found the object. Great. And if we couldn't find it, then he'd turn around and come backtrack. But most of the time, he was pretty good with the old Goldmaster 66 TR. He could pretty much pinpoint that thing on a dime, as they say, right? And he could even tell you just about how deep it was. But those are the old. Does your father use a pinpointer now? Yes, he does. I got him one for Christmas a couple of years ago. He loves it. He says, "Man, where was this thing 35 years ago?"
Right. What'd you get him? Like regular Garrett Pro Pointer?
Yeah, I got him a Garrett. Yeah, I got him a Garrett Land Hunter, and he loves that thing. He won't go in. He won't even get out of the truck without it. He said,
"That's
here." Yeah, he won't get out.
Yeah, I know. When I leave the house to hunt, usually I leave with 2, just in case the batteries go dead on one or something.
Yeah, I've got my Garrett Carrot, and I've got the Land one. And then I got one for my dad, so I always carry some extra batteries in the truck, in the back of the pouch there. But I use my Garrett Carrot on land, too, just like I do in the water. So, It's always great, because yesterday it was pouring over here. It was nice to have a waterproof unit with me as I was going along in the mud, I should say.
Well, it worked out all right for you yesterday. You were a duck with good luck.
Duck with good luck, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he won't even get out of there. I mean, he's still old school though. To further that, give you a little more on the answer. He still likes to use a probe. When we first started, we used to probe.
Wow.
Then we'd hit the coin with the probe, and then we'd dig it. Now, because everything is so precise, times have changed. He still won't get rid of that freaking probe, and I keep telling him, don't. It's an extra step. What are you wasting your time with the probe for? You're going to dig it anyway. Dig around, plug, and pop it out.
That's a good point. I used to use the old, and I'm sure you're familiar with the probe and pop.
Yeah, that's what we used to do.
Yeah, I used to do that too. I used to, I preferred a brass probe.
Okay.
But anymore, it's extra weight in a pouch.
Yeah, not only that, but it's an extra step. You already pinpointed it. Now you're going to pinpoint it again with a probe, and then you get the chances of scratching or wrecking the coin or ruining it to the point where it's no good. I mean, let's face it, they're all environmentally damaged anyway, but that point aside, why
there's no sense in furthering the damage.
Well, I'll tell you, here's a perfect example. My dad actually found it, but because we grew up with the probes, my mother and myself used to use a probe. We all had one as we go along. I hit a 1913 barber quarter that was stunning. I mean, stunning. Back in 1970s. It was the most beautiful barber quarter I've ever seen come out of the ground. It had to be lost brand new.
And that scratch was so nice and shiny.
Right across her nose. And unfortunately, $300 coin turned into $100. So,
ouch.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Costly lesson learned. But,
lesson learned. Yeah, sad situation. But, hey, it is what it is.
That's unfortunate.
So, times have changed and the technology has gotten so much better that, I mean, honestly, I'm to the point right now, Josh, I don't know about you with your 3030, and I don't know about what Swans does with his machine, but I don't even use my pinpointer anymore on the trigger. I don't even use it at all because I can pinpoint it to the point where I can just hit it so good, so fast that I know right where it is, right under my coil.
Right. I know some people, especially the Mind Labbers, they like to use the whole Mind Lab wobble technique.
Yep.
I do still use the trigger sometimes. That's just the way I prefer it. Unless I'm out looking for those deeper targets. At that point, I don't even mess with the trigger. I watch, and when that signal hits, I know where it's going across the coil.
Right.
Drop my shovel and cut the plug.
Right. Yeah, the wobble
pretty much
effect.
the same boat with my machine too. Is I use the wiggle back approach. I go in 2 directions at least. I'll go at north and south. I can figure it out at the tip of the coil. Go 90 degrees to that. If it's in the same spot, there's nothing I have to worry about.
Okay. Yeah, I guess everybody gets their own little technique down. I do use the wiggle effect, but I find myself using that wiggle effect more when I'm in the water than I do on land. On land, I'll use a shorter stroke, per se, like maybe 6 inches to each side, maybe 4 inches to each side. I very seldom go north and south like Swans just said he does. I'll actually turn my body and still swing it left to right.
Right.
That's
That's another point, too, that you had brought up, Leighton. I know I said I do use the trigger a lot, but when I'm in the water, too, I rarely use the trigger.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. See,
It's just personal techniques we all use.
Yeah. Yeah. How about when you get a big signature? See, I tend to want to walk away from those over my learning experience, or curve, I should say. I notice when it's a big target or it's got a huge signature, per se, under the coil, and if
Then
it's
you're
only like
after
an
a
inch or two,
big chunk of junk or something.
yeah, a chunk of junk or a can, and I'll tend to want to walk away. Now, that's usually pertaining to land. If I'm in the water, it's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, exactly.
If I get-
Location.
Exactly. I'll get out in the water. I get a big target like that. I can't tell you how many $50 we find like that. It's crazy. Almost
yeah.
an overload.
Well, there's been times around here when I get those big signals like that where it's like, what the hell? It's like I'm over a 2-foot piece of steel or something.
Yeah.
A lot of times, those are pocket drops for me.
I'll tell you what happened today. I actually had one of those today, and I decided to dig it. And the only reason I decided to dig it was because of the sound, the tone. As you know, I'm a tone guy, then I'm a depth guy, and then I'll look at the VDI. I'll process all 3 of those together in my head, and if it looks good, sounds good, depth is good, I'm on my knees digging. But this particular one, it was just sound. VDI sucked, and so didn't the depth. But you know what it turned out to be? A buckle.
Nice.
It was a buckle, an old brass buckle, and it was only about 5 inches deep. So,
Just had a large halo to it.
It just had a very big patina around the outside of it. Yep. The halo was what made it leak, I guess, over the years. That brass or bronze that it was made out of leaked into the sides of the soil, and that's what made it sound so big.
Right. We just had a caller try to call in. I happened to miss the call. The number looked like it might have been somebody out of Florida, I believe.
It might have been Gary.
So
It might have been Michael Boyles as well.
Oh, yeah, I did see him in the chat, too. So whoever it was, maybe they'll try to call back. Sometimes if we don't get to your call right away, keep trying, And I saw RingFinders in the chat, too, wanted to know who all was on here. Actually, it's myself, it's Leighton, and Swanzey. So that answers his question.
Yeah, and Gary was
also,
asking
Leighton, like you were saying too, with that large sound when it could be a good signal. I just dug earlier this year, back in June, was that large shoe buckle with the silver applied. I mean, that was a giant quarter signal, but it sounded like it was even larger than a soda can. When you wiggled over the target, you got a really large signal, went over a large area, very shallow. I mean, that was only a couple inches deep, but normally that's a target that I'd probably walk over in the fields because it's usually a big piece of iron, but where I was at a cellar hole, to me that said it's got the potential of being something, even if it's a lantern top or something like that. And that was why I took it out, and it looked really crappy when it came out of the ground, but it cleaned up beautiful, and that was probably my find of the year this year.
Right.
Well, and I'll tell you, I had one a couple of years back. I mean, just large. You'd have thought that, you were over something the size of a manhole cover.
Yep.
I thought, well, let's see, try to isolate it, and I kept trying to go, I couldn't use my pinpoint. When I tried to pinpoint, it didn't matter where I moved the coil. It's still, there wasn't any way to really isolate it. So finally I was going over, I tried to go for dead center where the coil would go off, and it seemed like it was shallow. It was a slow day anyway, so I get down to dig. It's pocket spill, $2.50 worth of quarters.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
I'm like, well, it's a slow day anyway. I'm not going to pass up this.
Right.
Right.
You know, it helps pay for batteries or buy coils or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Well,
them
funny
days
you mention
buying
that,
batteries.
too. It's funny you mentioned that, Josh. My buddy Gordon and I, who I started detecting with back when I began about 5 years ago, we were on a field that had these, I guess you call them ground markers underneath the ground. They're these spikes with this probably 4-inch disc on the top of them. They're numbered, throughout recreational grounds. Mm-hmm. And we kept going through this place. You get this 99 every time on the AT Pro, and you said, okay, we'll skip this one, We know what they are after you dug a few of them and put them back in the ground and let them be. Well, he comes across one that ended up being about the same signal, so we dug it out, and it ended up being 3/4 of a roll of quarters, only a few missing off the top out of the $10, sitting on top of each other, still with the paper around them.
Nice.
It just tells you, it's one of those times where how many signals have I skipped like that, saying, there's no reason to dig this signal, I know it's the same thing over and over again, and then he dug it out, and it ends up being like $8 worth of quarters.
Yeah, sometimes you just never know. I mean, and unfortunately, in those situations, we're left to be our own best judge as to whether or not, do we want to take the time to dig it and find out for sure. And, there's a lot of times, which I'm sure Leighton does too, especially on the beach or in the water, I'll go along and I'll dig pull tab after pull tab after pull tab, because I'd rather dig that pull tab than to wonder if I walked on a gold ring.
Right.
Oh, I would hate to pass up a gold ring. Don't make me sick. I got a stomach ache. Yeah, I dig them all. I don't care. You know what? I'll dig. Well, you know what they. Okay, so here's. I don't know who came up with this statistic, but this is what I've been reading lately. You got to dig at least 100 to 200 pull tabs for every ring. If that was the case, I'd be a millionaire. I think
they're off.
That's right. If that was the case, I'd be a millionaire because, man, I'd probably dig more like 1,000 pull tabs to every one ring.
Yeah, I was going to say
that number needs to be tweaked because I've dug thousands of pull tabs and only dug 2 gold rings ever.
Yeah, if I could get a nickel for every pull tab I've dug, I'd be hunting in Mexico every year.
Right.
I remember. Yeah, there you go. I remember my dad and I. When we first started, we used to have the old pull tabs, the ones, the beaver tails, the ones you'd pull off the can, and they'd get tossed on the beach or they'd get folded up. And I remember we had a chain going. I think I don't know whatever happened to it. I mean, we moved to California for a short time, still continued detecting out there, and then we moved back in the 80s, 87, 88, somewhere in there. But in the meantime, we had thrown that chain away, and I want to say it was like 75 or 100 feet.
Wow.
At that time. So that's a lot of pull tabs.
I'll have to send you a picture sometime. I've got a wooden box here.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. It's probably 8 by 10 by 10, somewhere around there. Full of beaver tails.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I've dug way more pull tabs than I'd even like to try to count.
Yeah, well, you're not alone. And listen, the more we pull out of the ground, it was a great invention when they did it, but boy, I'll tell you, little did they know it was really going to mess with the detectors, right?
Yeah. Jeez. Whoever invented pull tabs needs slapped. And anodized bottle caps.
The ground.
Oh yeah, you can't. That's a good. Hey, I'm glad you brought that up about the lead. Let's talk about some lead. Here's a crazy thing, right? I live close to the beach or on the beach, and here in New England, and of course we all love our fishing here, so it's a great pastime. But
makes for a plethora of lead.
Yeah, for the people that throw that stuff away, first of all, let me just touch base with you. You can't find a lead sinker in any fishing store anywhere in the country anymore. They don't produce them. They are making what I call zinkers. It's made with zinc.
Yeah, it's
There
like a
is some
zinc
lead-
alloy.
Right, there is some lead in there. It's the same thing they use on tires or tire weights. It's zinc. And it takes a little bit more heat for it to melt. So they're precious metal. And I'll tell you what, a couple of years ago, I sold 650 pounds of it. That was extra that I had, just laying down cellar from the 2 years prior. And I got 50 cents a pound. I'm not sure what it's going for now, but folks, if you want to get your money to go to and from treasure shows or stuff like that to your hunts that you are a little bit on the far side, it's a good way to save some money, and you won't even have to pay for it out of your pocket. So,
And
50
it
cents a
don't
pound,
take
that's a
much
pretty
to
good
get
price.
it don't take much to get a pound of lead.
No, two
No, it does not.
8-ounce sinkers. Two 8-ounce sinkers here that we use in the canal. Or out in deep water. That's a pound right there. So, it's a precious metal. It's becoming very, very tough to get.
Mhm.
So my point is, with the excess, as you know, Josh and Swans,
They're nice.
I've been making some fun things with my lead. I've been making some nice cannons.
That's
And,
right.
I bought myself a nice little mold on eBay a few years ago and finally put it to use last year. And I brought some nice cannons to some of the Ohio digs and the Virginia digs, and I've been selling some online here and there. But, why don't you tell the folks? Go ahead there, Josh.
Oh, well, and I'll tell you from personal experience, these really are neat little cannons.
Yeah, why don't away?
Yeah, well, what do we want to do? Maybe to a certain number color, or...
Sure. Whatever you feel.
Okay, how about, the second caller gets themselves a nice handmade lead cannon. Made from
All from-
recovered lead.
That's right.
Bring.
I wasn't expecting that. That's cute.
Yeah, see if anybody calls in, see if the phone lines are working. The second number I see maybe I won't answer the first one, and the second number I see come across the screen will grab.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be great. If it goes away. They're
Right.
pretty cool. Like you said, they're from recovered lead.
There
and,
was the first caller.
You know what's nice about it is that they are handmade, and they are painted. And if you've got a special color, and I've got that paint, I'll even make it in the paint color you want. But I have been traditionally making the carriage like a tan color.
Mhm.
The cannon barrel has been black, and the wheels have been black. They stand
Okay.
about 2
And we
inches
got our
high.
second caller.
Right.
Where'd they go there? I thought I had them. Yeah,
You still got me.
941.
Yep, it's Mike Boyles.
Well,
All right,
how
Mike.
about that? Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Is there a particular color you'd like that in?
If I've got it, I'll do it for you.
It don't matter.
Okay.
All right.
Can you send Josh or myself on Facebook your mailing address, and I'll get it out to you this weekend.
Alrighty, sure will.
All right, Mike. Congratulations. Merry Christmas, buddy. Thanks for calling in, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you guys too, and great show, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks.
Bye. Calling in, Mike.
Well, we certainly know the phone lines are working. As soon as we picked up Mike as the second caller, man, my screen just flooded with numbers.
Wow.
But, yeah, certainly. Thanks for the call, Mike, and congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so if he can just email me or yourself there, Josh, if he sends it to you, just let me know, and I'll get that one out to him. I'll make him I'll make him a special one. I'll make him a special color.
Nice.
And if I remember correctly, Mike is down there in the sunny state of Florida.
Yes, he is. He's down there in Florida. That's right.
Well,
so I've been also
make that like a brass color.
Well, I've got some gold paint, and I was thinking about maybe making him a nice golden cannon with some maybe a nice black carriage and a black set of wheels. But we'll give him a gold cannon. How's that?
Stylish.
Yeah.
And another thing.
That's not lead paint.
Well, I hope he doesn't decide to lick it, but
yeah,
right.
Maybe you should send a little disclaimer with that. Do not eat.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing too with that lead, for those that are creative, I'm sure you know, being a diver yourself, diver weights are expensive.
They certainly are. They are getting, believe it or not, $2 a pound. $2 a pound for that.
Right.
It's ridiculous. You get a 10-pound lead weight, it's $20. That's crazy.
So, say if you recycle lead, theoretically, lead's 60 cents a pound scrap price. Melt that down, buy yourself a diver weight mold, and now you're getting $2 a pound.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Helps get you to that treasured destination.
You know, when I was growing up, talking about fishing and lead and all this brings back some memories too about, fishing was a poor man's sport. I mean, what happened?
Yeah,
everything
used to
got
be.
so commercial. Yeah, everything got so commercialized. I mean, you can't walk into the store and just pick one sinker. There's 200 to choose from. Different styles, shapes, weights.
Yep. Flies, lures, rods, reels, line.
Oh, man. I got to weed out some of my stuff.
And then, especially if you're fishing from a boat, then you've got your cost of your boat, fuel, and God forbid you got to replace a life jacket.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't give those things away, buddy.
No, I think anymore, to have a decent quality one, you're looking at a base price of, what, $70?
Oh, the ones I got on my charter boat is close to $200 a piece.
I can believe it.
And I've got 8 of them on there. So, yeah, it's crazy.
8, no man left behind.
Right.
If we have a man overboard situation, we do throw out the anchor.
Yes, we do. That's right.
Just not on the...
Everything halts at that point.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
Speaking of the... Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of the boat, I don't know, can we talk about that?
Sure, why not, I guess. Maybe while we're doing that, I know Swanzey's got a nice little MineLab First kit he may want to give away in the chat. Maybe guess the number or something if he wants to cover that while you're talking about the boat.
I will do that. I'll cover that in the chat right now for these guys.
All right, sounds good.
Keeping them on their toes.
So, a few of you that probably tune in every single week heard Josh and I speaking about this maybe giveaway that we were working on, something that no one else has ever done before that we know of. Josh and I have come up with something because I'm a fishing charter captain out of New England. We were thinking about possibly doing some type of getaway for you folks. This is what we're gonna try to do. We're still trying to work out the bugs. What we're gonna do is we are going to give away, or Josh and I give away, a charter fishing trip. It will only be good for up to 4 people. It will be sometime in June or July. So if you can't make it in June or July, please don't enter. We will give you more specifics either next week or the week after on what the specifics are going to be and how you have a chance to win. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that. You will have to provide your stay for at least a couple of nights here in New England. But I will and Josh will take care of the charter for the day for you. It'll be a full day, which is a 6-hour trip. You're going to need at least a couple of days, like I said, because let's say we do it on a Saturday and the winds are too heavy. We can't get out. What we will do
right at that point, we'll go dirt fishing.
That's right. We'll do some dirt fishing. So it's going to a detecting fishing / weekend getaway. So whichever day prevails to be the best, that's the day we'll do the fishing trip with the boat, and the opposite day we'll do a little bit of dirt fishing. So if that's something that you are interested in, maybe you and your family or you and your guest, I can take up to 4 people. So mark it on your calendar. It'll be 2016, June or July. We are trying to get the dates set etched in stone, and there'll be more to come.
Still working out details.
Yeah. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, you want to get in a hunt with me and Josh. We're trying to work it so that Josh can be here at the same time. We'd like to maybe take you guys out for a fishing trip. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wasn't already involved, maybe I'd try to figure out a way to enter.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
All right, Josh, I just sent you a private message telling you what the number was, and I'm starting it now in your chat.
Oh, okay.
That way there's no controversy. The number was sent to your private messages on Facebook, and now they're open to guests.
Okay, well, if you see that number come across in chat, holler.
I will.
Yep, I've got the number right there. All right. Looks like you're going for a number between 1 and 100.
Correct.
Roll with it, folks.
So did you get a chance to hear that, Swanzey?
I did hear all that.
Awesome.
Yeah, see, that's why I said maybe I can make it out there next year and help with that cellar hole.
Yeah, there you go. So as I know of, there has never been a fishing charter / hunting trip with Josh and myself. That's for sure.
Right.
I know that for sure. So we'll just work out the details and we'll see what happens, and we'll give that away. Like I said, they'll have
That'd
to
be one heck of a trip, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they'll have to provide, the obvious things like, their room and board. They
right, you got to figure out how to get there, where you're staying.
Exactly. And, obviously this is, I don't know how far away people are listening. I mean, if you're, coming from, I don't know, Russia, I mean, obviously you don't want to come all that way just for a fishing trip, but you know what I'm saying? Let's.
Well, you never know. They may be going, hey, I'd travel that distance to hunt with Leighton.
Well, hey, that would be an honor. That would be great. That'd make me feel good, that's for sure. We'll try to get you over some fish. Hopefully you'll catch a fish of a lifetime and maybe get a nice coin of a lifetime, too. You never know. Got some pretty good areas to dig.
Now, what kind of fish do they expect?
This is what we're going to do. We are going to do a deep sea fishing trip, so that way they're guaranteed fish. I might split it up a little bit and do some bass and blue fishing, striped bass and blue fishing earlier in the morning. And then when the sun comes up, the fish go nocturnal anyway, so they're pretty much on the ground. And then we'll go deep sea fishing, and we'll get some sea bass, we'll get some scup, and
I think I just saw it, Swans.
I haven't seen it yet. There it is. So Relic Dirty Hands.
Yep.
There you go. Nice.
Well, how about that? Congrats to Lori. Can't beat that.
Very good.
That package is actually going out to Canada, Swans.
Yep, not a big deal. I've dealt with customs plenty of times.
Ah,
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. But yes, and I hear that the striped bass is very nice in your area.
Oh yeah, we get a lot of big fish. 20-pound fish are common. We had a couple of fish in the 50s this year, so if you're lucky enough to hook up to one of those, I will tell you this: it's like hooking up to a car going in the opposite direction. So hang on to the rod.
Right. Around here, if we get something like a 20-pound fish, it's probably a carp.
Yeah, or a cat. Do you have big catfish over that way too in Ohio?
Actually, yeah, I have seen, like our lake, I've seen catfish pulled out as long as my arm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, we get the sea bass that we get here are extremely tasty. So, if we get back in early enough and they decide to stay long enough, maybe I can fillet them up for them and we'll do a nice little New England deep fry. How's that? We'll make it we'll make it one memorable trip, that's for sure.
I know
you
around here.
Catfish up here too, Leighton, we call them hornpout.
Yeah, no, that was Josh saying that. We get hornpout too, yeah. We don't have any catfish.
I know around here, at least myself, I don't eat the fish. Fear that I may glow in the dark.
That's not good.
Or grow 3 eyeballs.
Well, yeah, because I'll tell you, in our area, it used to be, I don't know if that statistic still stands now, but the county that I'm in and the neighboring county ranked as number 1 and number 2 in the state for Alzheimer's and cancer. Now tell me that isn't tied to the water supply.
There's something in the water, buddy.
I would say that's awfully coincidental.
Yeah. So I don't even, I buy bottled water. I don't even feed the tap water to the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, I mean, because who knows what's in that stuff.
And so then, Swans, can you believe that? When I was over there in Ohio, the first thing he offered me, you want a water?
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Drink it out of the bottle, please.
He was trying to get rid of the competition right from the start. Nice.
Right, exactly. He's like, here, have a bottle of this.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. It's like eating a poison apple.
Well, see, that's why they had all them porta pots brought in.
Oh man,
they were covering their bases at that point.
Right.
You just never know. And speaking of just never knowing, another thing with tonight's experiment, aside from trying to tweak the audio a little bit, and obviously seeing if the broadcaster would hold, was to make sure that the appreciated listeners were still following the show. So, now that we see that people are around, next week, nice little prize coming up to somebody. I think for the show before New Year's, throw together a nice little prize pack for somebody. End the year out good.
Good. And, let me just throw one more thing in, too, about that fishing trip, Josh, with the / detecting hunt. I think we are going to try to come up with something so that way we can give the folks enough time to prepare for it, too. I'm thinking maybe a deadline of, let's say, April 30th or so, somewhere in there.
Yeah, because you figure people are going to have to adjust schedules or something, put in for time off or something like that.
So if we can give them like a month or two, I'm thinking if we do it through the end of April, we'll pick a winner or whatever at the end of April. That'll give them all of May. And like I said, either in June or July, whichever we decide to come up with as a date, we can go from there.
Right. My employer, there's certain times of the year that they literally block vacation.
Okay.
You're not allowed any time off. And last week somebody had said something about, they they've got a time frame down for one of the vacation blocks next year.
Uh-huh.
I said, really? When is it? Because I'm telling you, late spring, early summer, here is not where I'll be. I've got an appointment in Cape Cod.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We're gonna get you on some of these. I'll tell you the first place I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna take you to Indian Park.
Nice.
Take you to Indian Park.
I like digging Indians.
Oh, I love seeing those things. You know, I had 2 1865 coins today. Doesn't get any better than that, buddy.
No. Were they Indians?
No, one was an Indian, and the other one was the seeded dime.
1 year off from the fatty.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the seeded dime was 1856, not 65. The 1865 was the Indian head. My bad.
56, 65, it's still a good find.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, that dime's been sitting in that ground 160 plus years, maybe a little less, who knows. It's a little bit worn, so, maybe it was in circulation 5 or 10 years. But even so, I mean, even if it was lost, 1865, 10 years later, it's still quite a coin.
Absolutely. And each of them tell a story.
Yeah. Who knows how it got there, right? Some kid playing baseball back in the day, who knows? It was right next to a baseball diamond.
Oh, yeah, could be. Definitely a possibility.
Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, it's just a matter of going over it. Like, we've talked about this many, many times on the show. The treasure's never way over there. It's always under your
coil. It's where you find it.
Right.
And it's a truism.
Right.
So, I know it may, out in the field, always look like the old adage, the grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
But you come to find out, if you're persistent in your area, you got to be willing to work at it, but the work pays off.
Right.
Yeah, geographic location is one part of it. I mean, yes, we're fortunate here in New England, Leighton and I, that we're in part of the oldest part of the country. But yes. I've seen out in your area, Josh, you're out in Ohio, I've seen the Reals come up, I've seen New Jersey Copper come up with Joe Toth. I've seen some 1812 buttons come out in that area. Granted, they're probably not going to be as likely. But, again, like you said, persistence at the hobby. Keep your head in the game. Be persistent. Don't be so picky about what you're digging. That's a big part of it, too. Dig every signal that does not sound like crap. Even if it sounds like crap based on your area, if you're in a farm field out in the middle of nowhere, I dig everything like you would not believe.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I've dug some nice targets that ring up like crap.
Yeah. I actually had a few wheat pennies, believe it or not, today that sounded good only when I moved the coil off of them towards the edge of the coil. Whereas if I kept going over them, for some reason they just weren't sounding all that well, but something told me to dig, so I dig, and I dug a few
right.
of them. So.
Yeah, that's why I like that real field experience as opposed to air testing. Because another target in the ground that's skewing the signal.
Right. Could be iron, could be a nail in there, bent nail. As you know, with them CTXs, Josh, you get a bent nail or, anything that's half round or anything like that. With them CTXs, they sound just like a silver coin. It's the craziest thing. And if they've been in a fire, even worse.
Oh, yeah.
If they've been heated, forget it. You'll dig nails all day long. So what I've learned to do is, again, I've tuned my machine a little bit and brought my sensitivity down just enough for the area now. Every area is different. I bring it down just enough to eliminate, to make me stop digging those nails, and then I move forward. I'm not giving up any type of depth or anything, so it works out great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. And
that and ground orientation, no matter what you're digging. I mean, you can dig a really good sounding button at one depth and a different button at another depth. If it's on the end or flat, through totally different signals.
Right.
Right. And a lot of times, too, you get that rusty nail in the ground, and if there's a coin under it, that CTX will see it and say, hey, you better check this out. Dig.
Right.
But
I know. I know. Well, for me personally, I'll dig anything that is at least 7 inches deep or more, pertaining to a particular park that I'm speaking of.
mm-hmm.
And if it's got any kind of a repeatable signal in any direction, I love one-sided tones for some reason. I do very well finding those Indian heads when they're a one-sided tone. If I keep hitting it from the left, going over to it, and it sounds really good in one direction, I can't tell you how fast I get on my knees to dig them because I know what they are. I know what they are. Every single time I know it's one. Crazy.
That's like when I'm out hunting and I get that high silverish tone and then that iron grunt at the end of the swing, and I look down and I see my depth meters pegged.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm digging. Digging.
You're like a woodchuck, right?
Absolutely.
I know.
Can't turn them down.
No.
Not at all.
Hey, you know, when I dug that, I think I told your listeners and yourself there in Swans, I don't know if you were in on it that weekend, or that week when we were on it, but it was when I got that cap bust $50 a few weeks back, a couple months ago now, I dug 7 square nails out of the same hole.
Yeah,
that's a rewarding hole right there.
That's right.
7, and I knew that wasn't the tone that I heard, but something just kept me to tell me to keep going. And, you know, of course, using the pinpointer, I kept getting a signal. I pull it out of the hole, check the hole, another signal, bang. And it just the way it unfolded, it was perfect. And even after I pulled the $50 out, I called my friend over to see it. And, you know, we were all like high-fiving each other because we couldn't believe it. I checked the hole and I pulled out another one. So
well, at least he wasn't going, man, I'm blocking you on Facebook.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, I know.
I might refriend Leighton someday, but it won't be today.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh.
You love me like the brother you never had, right?
That's right, or the one that I would have smothered with a pillow as a child.
Nice.
Wow.
That's great. That's that brotherly love. Merry Christmas.
Damn right, but you're still invited up here after New Year's, buddy.
Okay.
There you go.
And I'm going to take you up on that, too.
Yeah, that cellar hole's sitting waiting for us.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah. And like I said, you know, if you're ever down this way, I'm only a couple hours away, so maybe once the winter settles in and we can't do any digging dirt-wise, you know as well as I do, I hunt all year long, so bring an extra coat, get yourself a small pair of, knee-high boots, and I'll take you down to the beachfront, and you'll dig silver. Guarantee you that.
There you go.
I'll carry you to that one because I've never done that myself. I've never touched salt water. I'm almost 3 hours from the coast.
Yep.
Well, see, it gives you a new experience, a change of scenery, and try your hand at it. Helps make you a more versatile hunter.
I've got extra scoops. I've got all that extra stuff. So all you need to do is bring you and the machine, and I'll put you in the right spot. It's going to be up to you to dig it.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say, from the way it looks, our experiment seems to have ran fairly smooth.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there was no buffering this week and everyone was able to tune in all right. Leave a comment in the chat or send me a message. Let us know how the audio was as we continue to work on this whole new show system project. We'll see how that goes.
Well, Merry Christmas to everybody out there, all our listeners and everybody. Swanzey, you and the family, and Josh, say hi to Tam and everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Merry Christmas to you and Swansea and all the listeners out there. Hopefully, Santa brings the diggers those special items they'd like to see.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe Santa will leave a block of dirt under your tree with a few Indians in it, Leighton.
Hey,
Maybe my sock.
20 more in the next 8 days. He's good to go.
That's right.
I'm hoping. I just got to find another spot that has them. That's all.
Yeah.
I think I'm wearing it thin.
Well, and if, like we said, if you don't make it, you gave it hell trying anyway.
Yeah.
And you still can't complain.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
180, very, very commendable.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, think about it. That's 3 rolls of pennies that somebody plus.
Yeah.
Somebody has lost out there. It's amazing.
And when you stop and think about it, that's a lot to pick up one plug at a time.
That's right.
Unless, of course, you're lucky enough to get 2 or 3 of them out of the same plug.
Yeah, we had that a few times too.
Right, I've done that myself. It's nice when you can hit them like that.
Yeah, I had a few this year. I had a couple of holes. I had 2, and one I think had 3. One of them I think I had two Indian head pennies with a buffalo nickel and a mercury dime in it. Nice little pocket spill. So,
right.
Yeah, it was all right. Great year.
I guess another thing to mention before we roll out too, I saw that Duke Dillon was in the chat.
Yep.
He's an admin for American Metal Detectorists and Relic Recoverers Facebook group. They just finished their 12 Days of Christmas contest.
Yep.
They did a very, very good job the way they operated that. I myself was even listed as one of the winners.
Yay!
Yeah, but kudos out to them because that was, I mean, and we know from doing these shows, these contests, sometimes they're not easy to orchestrate, and to do it like they did on that scale, very professionally done. Very good job. Yeah. Check out their Facebook group.
I was going to say Merry Christmas to Duke, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like in the chat he got a nice little Christmas gift early. I guess he found a silver dollar the other day.
I saw that.
It was a peace dollar, wasn't it?
Do what?
It was a peace dollar, I believe.
It may have been, yeah. Either way, silver dollar of any shape or form, they're not easy to find.
Yep, right. No, that's still on my bucket list. I've never found one.
Right. I've dug an Ike dollar, but never a silver dollar. Although Leighton shared a video Leighton shared a video the other day of a silver dollar dig that he had a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that video does not get old. I love watching that thing.
Yeah. Actually, I had somebody looking at it tonight, I guess, that was in the chat room. They were looking at it, and they were commenting on that and the $50 that I got. That's one of those holes that you always recheck. I had a high tone, but I dug a sinker.
Yeah, got the
fishing sinker. Yeah, and of course I went back and checked it with my pinpointer, got another tone, and that's when I called my buddy over because I was so ecstatic. I saw a big silver in the hole that was under a root, and I remember it as like it happened this afternoon, even though it was 2 years ago right now. And he was so excited that I had to beep out.
Right, it's finds like that you go, oh boy, this is going to take some time in editing.
Yes. So as you know, because I was on a farm, I chose to use a bunch of farm animal noises to beep out all of his...
that was great, though, because all of a sudden you hear this moo.
Yeah. And so that son of a moo, and that son of a moo. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Worked out great. But yeah, that's a great find. So check your holes twice, folks. You never know. There's always goodies. That's what the high tone was. Yeah. The high tone was a silver dollar, and the sinker was a mid tone.
Yeah, you got to be persistent with it. what was last week? I think that was one of Trooper Bryce videos. One of the guys he was hunting with got a signal, just kind of kicked the dirt, and it was a trime in somebody's plug.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hunted with a guy this week. He found 2 this week with me. Two 3-cent pieces. Yep, on 2 different days. One on one day, one on the next day. We went back to the same place, and he's got 2 this week.
Wow.
I haven't got any. So you never know. You just got to go over it, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's all who gets their coil over the target. But you know, people find stuff like that. I'm happy to see them.
I was happy.
Really.
For him. Yeah. This guy was relatively new to the hobby, and
even better.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, oh my God, he came running. I thought he had $1 million in his hand, but you know, he showed me this little tiny thing sitting in his palm of his hand. I said, dude, you know what you got there? He goes, I think it's a 3-cent piece. I went, yeah, it's a 3-cent piece. Don't lose it. I mean, if the wind blew, it was so thin. If the wind blew it, blowing it out of his hand.
It just fly right away. Yeah.
So, yeah, he got 2 of them. 1850s. Yeah, really,
Definitely
really nice coins.
Both
of them still, you could see the big C on the back, and had the one of them, the star was a little bit worn on one side, but the other one was like brand new.
Very good.
Yeah, I got my first one a couple months ago there too, in the same hole as a large cent.
Did you?
Yeah, it's beat to hell too. I mean, they had a hole in it and everything, but it was in 1852. I dug the large cent, filled the hole back in, still had a 61 signal, dug the hole back out again, a couple inches deeper, and there's my first little silver trime sitting there in the bottom of the hole. I thought it was a half real, though. I won't lie. I said, oh, great, another half real. And then my buddy Carl says, no, there's 3 new Roman numerals on the back of it. And I said, oh, my God, you're kidding me.
Notice how that rolls off. Oh, great, another half real.
Yeah, well, those don't excite me, Josh.
Right. Oh, let's see here. Looks like we've got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Josh. How you doing this evening?
All right.
Mr. Denny.
How's the audio sounding, Denny?
It's real good. I changed over to Internet Explorer, and now it's working fine. I was on Firefox, and it wasn't working at all on it.
And that was tonight or previous?
Yeah, tonight. I went back to Internet Explorer, and it's working fine.
Okay, so that gives the listeners another option at least.
Yeah, because Firefox just was cutting in and out for me. I couldn't type, but now it's just fine. But it's really stormy over our way. How's it over your way?
Yeah, we've been getting storms.
Yeah. Hey, Leighton, I wanted to tell you, pretty soon I'm going to get that PayPal sent to you for my 4 cannons I ordered. This is Benny Morrison, or RingFinder.
Yeah, I know who it is. How you doing?
Good. Yep. Good to hear you on here.
You're ready.
What's that?
I appreciate that. I say I appreciate that. Thank you, and just let me know, and we'll make you up 4, and we'll get them right out there as soon as possible for you.
There you go. I told my buddy he's heading for Florida for a month, and I told him I got a cannon for him when he gets home.
And I can tell you he packs them well.
Yeah, I know. They really look neat in that pile. I really like that pile.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me know. I'm glad you
great
called
show
in
tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad you called in, by the way, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
And same to you, buddy. And you too, Josh and Swanzey. And Bill, Bill, my mentor, Ohio relic hunter.
Fellow pinpointer returner.
That's right. No, a digger returner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Lesh. Tool. Yeah. Yep. Did a fine job.
Kenny that lost his pinpointer.
Yeah,
I want to go back here and hunt some more. Yep.
Just so long as you don't lose anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Well, you know what, Denny? The best of us lost something at that hunt. I lost my cell phone. You lost your digger. Kenny lost his pinpointer. You know what?
There was a shoe lost.
You know what? Though you found your cell phone, right?
Good
thing.
I
did underneath the tire of a car.
Yeah, I've got that ability. I just got a new iPad, and it has that ability on there to find your iPhone. That's what you had, right?
Oh no, mine was a Samsung Galaxy S6, but one of the guys was able to log into my account and pinpoint it right down within 3 feet of where that phone was sitting.
I know, that was crazy. I already did it with my new iPad here on my own phone.
Nice.
Just testing it out. Pretty cool.
Oh, it was unreal. I mean, the guy says, you know, it's within 3 feet of where we're standing now, so we're looking everywhere. Everybody's calling the phone, and it wasn't showing up. And I finally looked down underneath the tire of a car, and there it is, leaned against the tire.
Yep, sure was. It's crazy.
Wow.
Just think what the government's doing to us.
Yeah, exactly.
I try not to.
Then he know our every show move. Entirely.
You know, Josh, I wrote a letter to 1,000 Mics because poor Relic Roundup, they didn't have any program at all the other night. It was just dead. So hopefully they got their act. And I mentioned your program, too, having a lot of trouble.
And I was in contact with them early last week, I believe.
Well, I hope it sounds like they got their act together on your program for sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens, you know.
Yep.
Maybe the holiday cheer keeps us
going.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to let you all go. You all have a great Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year. Well, we should be on here before next year, right?
That's right. We'll see you next week.
There you go, buddy. And,
Merry Christmas.
Hopefully I'm going to get out and do some hunting if the fields dry out some.
There you go.
I'm thinking about Road Park right now, but at least I can go over there and hunt the hillsides.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the call, Denny.
All right. Good night, you guys. Bye now.
All right. Merry Christmas, Denny.
Thank you.
And with that in mind, like we said, we'll see you next week and into next year. So we appreciate everyone for dropping by. Merry Christmas to everyone. If you enjoyed the show, enjoyed the chat, like, rate the channel, throw us the stars. That keeps the giveaways going. You know the routine. But seriously, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. If you're traveling for the holidays, travel safe, folks. You know, drive smart, drink responsibly, live to dig another day. So, with that in mind, I think it's about time to roll. We will see you next week.